or
Put a
something
hood
like
on it.
that. Well, um that so I'm wearing tonight. I'm wearing a bishop's cassock, of course, because I wear Anglican dress. I'm not dressed in choir dress at all, so I'm just wearing the cassock, and the cassock is the inner garment for a bishop, and of course you have the rocket, and Jack, that rocket is heavy.
Yes, it is.
That rocket is heavy, and the shamir. Do you remember the shamirs?
You mentioned it before.
It's like I think it's a back piece. It looks like a vest, but it goes all the way down,
Mm-hmm.
and it's almost like it's a back piece. It has a nice pleat in the back.
Mm-hmm. Well, whenever you say shamir, I think of the Hebrew word shamir.
Right, or shamir, or chimer.
Well,
That's the way speech says it.
it's the name of a person.
Ah,
A lot of Palestinian Christians are
mhm,
named Shamir. I don't know what
right.
it means anymore.
But yeah, it's basically it's a part of the vestment. It goes. I think it goes on over the rocket, and it's the final thing to go on.
You're going to have to
Um,
really work on that.
what's that?
You're going to have to figure out where all these clothes go.
No, you I already know where they go. It goes cassock, and if I was a priest, I would wear alb over the cassock, and then I
Oh
think,
my gosh.
and then you would wear a cincture, not a cincture, but yes, you would wear a cincture,
Mm-hmm.
and um, their cinctures don't look like ours. Mine looks like a tassel. I'm wearing a cincture tonight, but it's a purple one, so I don't know if you were able to see it.
You're a real clothes horse.
Huh? No, not really. Not really at all. To be honest with you, look,
The heck, man.
what you mean?
You're a clothes horse. You like clothes. You like to dress up. You like to look good. You like to
Mm.
have esteem.
I don't know about all that
I just
esteem
don't know
stuff.
about wearing that Dagon mitre on your head.
I'll put a, well, I don't have a mitre
I'll
yet.
send you a German helmet to put on.
No, but no, I think I get the mitre at my consecration. Um, but
Does it have
so
eyes? Does it have fins? Does
no,
it
it
have,
doesn't. It doesn't. Honestly, it doesn't even look like. I don't even know where they get Dagon from. Quite frankly.
well,
Um,
because of the Romans, priests of Dagon wore those in those times, St.
right.
Paul's, and the Roman officials took that on from them guys.
Well, you do know that if by study of this, some of the clerical dress do come from the dress of the Roman Empire. You are aware of that, correct?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, all the names of the officers do too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then again, you know a lot more about it than I do. You know, a lot of what I know is hearsay.
No, you was in cover. I bet you. Pull out your robes and let me see if you still got your
Well,
robes.
in my church, they didn't wear all that garb. You know, you might use you use a clerical shirt and a collar,
The
and
United Methodist Church didn't. Wait
no,
a minute. The United Methodist Church dressed away the same way. They have the what you call it, the rocket, the shamir, the alb.
well, then
Bishop Morris
again,
never wore that.
when you have like an annual or quadrennial conference, you'd see that stuff, or
Right.
an ordination ceremony, but you'd never wear that in the parish. In fact, most Methodists just wear a suit because they want to be like evangelicals.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
wore I wore
honestly,
clerical stuff for weddings and
I
special
would I
occasions.
would prefer a suit, quite frankly. But as you know, in the Orthodox, they
Yeah,
wear this stuff.
I
Um,
pledged Orthodox for a few years and worked in two Orthodox churches as the sacred musician organist.
well, I talked to Blakey,
You
And
mean big
Blakey,
fat Blakey?
huh?
You mean big fat Blakey? I'm getting under your skin now. Okay.
I think that's funny. But I talked to him. He tells me that you're interested.
I'm interested in finding out more.
Okay.
I can't be a Trinitarian. I just simply can't believe that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wrote to him because right after our last talk, I want to know
Mm-hmm.
more about their particular sect
Mm-hmm.
and outfit. I'm very interested in denominationalism. I always have been.
Right, exactly. Well, the truth of the matter is, like I told you it's Torah observant, and
Yeah.
he's
Well,
gonna send you, he said he's gonna send you some documents in a couple of days.
understand too that denominationalism, my intention was when I started in ministry was to be able to go from place to place,
Uh-huh.
denomination to denomination, church to church, and minister no matter what
Right.
kind it was. So I bought every edition of Sam Hill's denominational index and read
Right,
them and
right,
read them and read them. It was an
right,
inordinate kind of interest.
right. Well, it's it's nothing wrong with that. And like I said, we were we were like, can you see Jackson in here? But it's something, to
Well,
me
it's a
it's something,
possibility.
right. It is something that would keep, personally, I think it's safe.
Well, just
Um,
don't tell him that I am. Oh, don't tell him anything because he'll do this and that. I won't do this and that.
right, I
There'll
got you.
be nothing in the world that I would do to demean you. You've been a great friend to me,
Well,
and
that's not what we
when
got to
you
watch
leave,
that. Huh?
when you leave out, I won't say a word against you. I only have good things to say.
Well, I think that I'm not really worried about it. Like it's like you were saying, people who listen to, I don't know what the response has been. I did see a comment, and I told her that I would do that for her, because there are people that are listening.
Do what?
What have the responses been so far?
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, what are they thinking?
The second one got more than the first. I think because you got into some stuff that is more interesting, like the KLAN and that.
Yeah,
I can tell you the numbers if you want me to. I'll go out there.
yeah, that'd be interesting. Um,
You just remember, it's only been up there a week, both of
oh
them.
wow.
So you're going to get, this will be like a week's worth. Hold on a minute, and I'll get it.
I wonder what they think about our discussion about, the Orthodox Church and doing that.
I don't have opinion on that, but I think it's a very good thing in order to foster better understanding. A lot of people that are listening to my channel are Hebrew roots.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
But
So you would expect a lot of criticism, but
oh
there
yes.
haven't been any.
Oh, but well, see, I figured out something. I took a picture in choir dress the other day,
Yeah.
and but you can't see anything. Um, I need to get somebody to take a picture of me in choir dress, because if those people see me in choir dress,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna lose their minds.
I think
Like
you
that.
look great in that. I mean, you were made to wear that.
I don't know that. I don't know about. You think so? I don't know about all that.
Yeah. Of
Wait till you
course.
see me with my red academic hood across my shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Well, what academic color do you have? Red? Oh, you
Yeah,
said
it's
red.
red.
Okay.
Huh? Hmm?
Okay.
You know, with Anglicans, it's red or black.
Well,
Technically, I'm supposed to have a red rocket with a red shamir, or a black rocket or a black shamir, but that's too Church of God in Christy.
mm-hmm.
So what I did is I went with the purple rocket and the purple shamir.
Well, on the usually, you know, they kind of mix up the church and the academic robes, and
Hmm.
an academic robe has different stripes and different colors for different types of degrees.
Correct.
Now
That's
you have
correct.
like an you've got an associate's degree.
Yeah, I have an
What's your
associate's degree.
degree in history?
Actually, no, I have a I have an I got a BA in
Okay,
in
good.
criminology and interdisciplinary social sciences.
That's super. I didn't know that.
But yeah, because I noticed that too. But I noticed that the well, you know, the rocket used to be academic dress.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so for whatever reason, the rocket has made its way into
Into the
the
church.
yes.
Yeah, it has. I've noticed a lot of times at church functions, the bishops are wearing their academic robes,
Hmm.
which might or might not be appropriate.
But I think that it depends on whether they went. And I also have a tippet, um, and you could ornament your tippet however you want to. But what I'm going to do with mine, I'm going to have three. I'm a Star of David, a crown, a Star of David, a crown on
You
one
can put
side.
whatever you want on there.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Star of David on one side, another side, crown, Star of David, crown. Three on each end. Um,
That's
and
good.
yeah, because one of the things in doing this, we do have people that in the group that we're in that are like for example, let's say if you would have come in and you would have come into this, you come into the Church of the Chaldees,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's
Church of
the
the Chaldees,
hmm
they have that still?
yes, it's still around.
Where
Um,
is that?
well, it is part
Because
of
I'm
this.
British.
Well, you'll see that. Well, that's something that they had it. They have it in the ALCC. It's part of the Orthodox
Church of the
Anglican.
Chaldees. Wow,
Hmm.
I didn't know that at all.
That's why, if you notice, that's why one of the reasons why when I came in and I went before the bishops, they asked me, "Do I want to wear Anglican dress
Hmm.
or do I want to wear Old Roman dress?"
Okay, so in Anglican dress, you have the possibility of wearing Kuldi dress, which I don't know what that is. Probably an out.
Right, exactly. You could, you definitely could, but when they asked me, because you know there are no most if not all of the guys in here are Orthodox, but
Mhm.
in the Western Rite, which is where the Church of the Chaldees is, and their heritage is Joseph of Arimathea, which proves exactly what you have been
That's
saying.
amazing. Amazing.
It proves the fact that Joseph of Arimathea was the 12th disciple after Judas fell.
Well, I think maybe that you ought to tell people that. I think that will open their eyes
Hmm.
and minds in there.
Exactly. Because see, me doing this, remember when we first started talking, Blake started talking to us about this thing existing. I told you before that it was something that I thought he did not do a very good job
No.
of explaining to us. Because if he had explained this to us and in such a way that we were able to receive it, he'd still be in here.
Yes,
Okay.
he did a horrid job on explaining it. It was basically what he talked about was vestments
Right. And
because he's
well,
into that.
I realize why that is. You know, he's Asperger's. Okay.
Oh, I see. That's
And
right. I forgot.
and one of the things with that is they have certain things that they do well. This is one of the things that he does well. This
Wow.
protocol, and that's where he works.
I'm looking at that website right now, Orthodox
Hmm.
Church of the Chaldees.
Hmm.
This It's an incredible website. Wonder I
Hmm.
never found this before.
Well, like we didn't know, but
Mhm.
it does exist, and it has a Celtic fling to it. And that's where you get that's why most of the people that you're going to see that's in the Western Rite wear Anglican vestments.
What's
Okay.
the alternative? The Roman vestments? Is that the other alternative?
Old Roman Catholic vestments or Anglican vestments. I told them you couldn't pay me to wear Catholic garb.
No,
You're not going.
especially
You
these
couldn't.
days.
Huh?
Especially not these days.
Now you can't pay me. No. Well, that's not my heritage. My heritage is not Catholicism. Me, my family, we have all been some form of Anglican. Either we were African Methodist Episcopal, or we were Episcopalians, or we were in the Church of God in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that went into the selection of vestments too. And whatever you select, then that's what you select. you know, you stay there. So that's what I did. And I elected to wear Anglican vestments. So yeah, he's definitely into vestments and protocol and things like that. And that's fine. That's
This is
fine.
amazing what they say in their About Us section.
Mm-hmm.
It says they're rooted in Hebrew faith
Mm-hmm.
and identity brought to
Mm-hmm.
Western Christian nations by the apostles in the first century.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
British Israelism?
No, they
Yeah,
don't do.
yeah.
They don't
Restoring,
do it.
restoring and preserving the libraries on British Israelism. Now, this is off your group site. Let me see. I want to make sure.
Actually,
AOCC?
AOCC,
Yeah, this is off your site.
the AOCC, the Orthodox Catholic uh, church,
Well, we
and
have to
so
remember the meaning of the word Catholic, too.
yes, it's not what everybody think it means. Universal Assembly,
Yeah.
and so let's take somebody like Blake. Blake will wear a black cassock with the red piping and buttons, and the cape is black with red trimming. Okay, somebody like myself will dress in choir dress. We will wear uh, the bishop's cassock, the rocket, and then the shamir. And I tell you what, Jack, that stuff is heavy. Of course, I have
Yeah.
cuffs. I have cuffs. Um, but that stuff is heavy. I'm like,
Must be
man,
extraordinarily expensive, too.
it was $1,200.
But then again, you use the same one your whole life.
What's that?
You use the
Well, yeah,
same
yeah.
vestments your whole
It's not
life.
exactly. It's not something that you're going to be going and getting different vestments every time you look up. I think once you get past your first set of vestments, you're fine. Because so let's say if I decide to go to a red rocket in a red shamir, or a white rocket in a purple shamir, I
Yeah.
may do that. You see what I'm saying? It's going to be less expensive to get things, but this will always be the base of what you're wearing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
That's going to always be the base.
On
You
this
know,
particular website, it says the Jerusalem church moved to Britain and the Apostolic See of Glastonbury, later called the Second Rome.
mm-hmm.
And they've got quotes from saints and PDF documents. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
all. This blows my mind.
It's been around. It's been around, and it ain't going nowhere.
I can
And
see it has. Yeah.
and I was like, and it also could be an alternative. And that's what I was sharing with Blake and some of the others. This could be an alternative for Hebrew roots individuals who are disenchanted with Hebrew roots, disenchanted with Enochianism.
We haven't been able to find anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
You and I, we've looked and looked and looked.
Mm-hmm. And for example, you want to come into this, or not come into this, but you disillusioned with that because what you see is a divided house And I think that they're not all Hebrew roots people, as I said before, are bad people. But I do believe that they're on their last leg, not because of anything else other than division. They're
Mhm.
dividing over the name. They're dividing over how you say the name. They're dividing over the calendar. They're dividing on what Shabbat is. They're dividing on uh, very fundamental things that should be very well understood by each and every believer. And so people are starting to notice. They're starting to notice that I'm not, my goodness, these people just can't seem to get it together. And I just like, I'm done. I'm done because it's like, how much further can we divide
Yeah.
without losing our effect, and how without being seriously considered of no effect?
Well, you know, the dividers seem to be the leaders. Like, for instance, that guy out in, I can never remember his name, out in um, Oregon.
Oregon, yeah, I know him.
Yeah,
I know him personally.
he's taken a whole section of
Hmm.
so-called Hebrew roots out
Hmm.
because of some of his crazy things he's talking about.
Yeah, I know, and he's a good man too. That's the sad thing. He's a very good man, but he's just, because of some things that happened to him, he has really gone by the wayside. And even this guy down the street here, same thing. They're
Hmm.
creating a cult. Okay, they're not creating a congregation. See, when we stand up here and we say the Apostles' Creed, we mean what we say. We believe in one universal assembly. We believe that Yahweh is the maker of heaven and earth. We believe that he came to this, he was born of a Virgin Mary. He was tried and sentenced by Pontius Pilate. He was murdered. He was in the grave. He rose, and now he's at the right hand of Abba, making intercession for us. We believe that, you know, and everybody should believe that. But unfortunately, in Hebrew roots, a lot of people don't believe that. I
No.
know that there have been people that we know that have been very critical, and boy, they would be very critical of what I'm doing now. But I said, I don't care. I've given the Hebrew roots 20 years,
Yeah, I know you have.
20 years to change, to grow, to do things. And every time you try to go in there and help somebody, they always attack you as if you're the problem. And I'm not, man, y'all can keep this. If this is what y'all want, y'all can keep this. But this is not what I want for me. This is not what I want for the people around me. So, I feel terrible. I mean, I was in this for a long time. And then all of a sudden you realize, okay, now you have to do something else. And the opportunity came up to be a part of this.
Hmm.
And so, you know, I'm studying it, I'm learning it, learning things, learning how to say mass, learning how to do all these types of things. Because it's not really, I think, what I think the problem is, Jack? I wanted to serve. And most Hebrew roots or Hebrew roots type groups, they don't want people to serve. They want people to hang out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They want people to hang out and they want people to support them, but that's as far as they want to.
We still there? I got a phone call. I'm just writing them that I'm busy right now.
And who will be calling you on a Friday night?
Who do you think?
No,
It's not Blakey.
no. Man, Blakey in the bed sleep.
It's Pope Francis.
Francis, good job, man. Well, they'll be calling me papers, especially after they see this.
Well, see, that's going to be a mission to see those times of criticism as opportunities to.
Opportunities to share, opportunity to explain, opportunities to even invite them to come and see. I mean, could you imagine? You Yeah, and you know the funny thing, in all of this, we're still going to keep the name Yahad of East Tennessee. And
And
huh?
good. And the Cody thing uses the name Yahweh.
Yes.
Well, which that's another thing that I'm really
Oh, trust me,
surprised.
I investigated all of that stuff before I started fooling with this, because I wanted to know: am I going to have to give up the Sabbath? If that's not happening, am I going to have to start eating pig? That's not going to happen. Am I going to have to give up the Moedim? That's not going to happen either. My goal in doing this is to go into a place where I can serve, not stand around and look pretty, but to serve. You know, I'm not putting on these vestments just to be a show horse. I'm putting on these, and I'm not here to play dress up. I'm not here to romanticize the first century. I'm not here to romanticize
Mhm.
Anglicanism. I am here to serve. And so if I need to wear a dress to serve,
Yeah,
you know, I'm gonna serve. You know, it's weird walking around in choir dress because I'm like, oh my goodness, there's all these different layers, and then you hear them making noises as you're walking. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this what James sounded like? Is this what Peter sounded like? Is
I'm not sure they wore those kind of things in those days. It
well,
probably too cool, but
I do know that they wore the alb.
yeah,
Um,
oh, definitely.
I
Yahshua
do know that.
wore the alb.
Hmm. And they may have even worn some of these garments, but maybe not all. But they definitely wore something that caused a lot of this to happen because that album, I think that's one of the things that the Yahad needs to push. Um, they need to push the unified dress of the people. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because if you start to change how you dress, you're going to change how you behave. And if you could change those things, then you'll go more towards being unified as one universal assembly. You know, you may not be able to get everything at first, but everything in steps. But I know we had a lot of people that really fought that, and I don't know why they fought it. You know,
I think that people just fight change. Change means loss or perceived loss of things that you have had
hmm
to things that you negatively think you're going to lose.
well, you know, the funny thing about that is that they didn't. It you have to, in order to move forward. Sometimes you got to realize, listen, I never had anything in the beginning. And that's what a lot of people that came to us, they came to us for a reason. They
Hmm.
came to us that it looked like they were coming to get information. But that's not really why they were here. There are people here that need to be healed of
Oh, I'm sure.
alcoholism. There are people that needed to work through depression issues. The other people that need to work through schizophrenia issues. The other people that need to deal with just plain being beaten down issues, you know?
Now,
And,
go ahead.
huh?
I'm sorry. I'm going to ask you a big question.
Go ahead.
That is, do you think in the last 4 or 5 years that you have served with the Ahad that you've gotten some preparation for moving into a ministry of helping in those particular areas?
I believe so, yes. I didn't understand it at the time, and I didn't understand what it was
Mhm.
about at the time because I never forget to say the days you call, oh, I want you to serve as a bishop. I need you to serve as a bishop. I'm like, you got to be out your mind. Have you been drinking something today? Because I didn't see myself as doing this. I saw myself as coming in, being a simple elder, and that's it.
I'm
But
surprised.
no, actually, people really shouldn't be because, you know, that bishop stuff that wasn't me. I mean, that never was me, and I tried to tell people, and even the detractors who thought that, oh, I was, you just want to be an autocrat. you just want to be a Hitler, you want to be a Nazi. That's not true at all. And I really took a severe beating from many people. I mean, there are many good things that we were trying to do, and they would intentionally do things to cause those things to fail. I really believe that, because you could see things in the spirit, and you could see that. And um, they think, well, he wants to be this ruler over us. No, I didn't care. I was here to help do what we said we were going to do in 2016. And I never saw myself being called upon to be any bishop, anything other than an elder. And here we are 4 years later. Now I feel comfortable enough to say yes. I feel comfortable enough to put on a ring like this and say, yes, I can serve now with confidence and competence that, yes, I can serve as a bishop.
Yes, I think you have been prepared for doing a kind of move like this.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the opportunity to witness you now for 4 years, and I have looked closely in that
Mm-hmm.
4 years.
Yeah, it's been 4 years.
5 years.
Just like
It's been more than actually since back in '96.
yeah, it's been longer than that. Because if you think about it, you saw me back in the day.
Yeah,
You saw me in you saw me, but you did not see me at
pounding drums.
Echundi's.
What I
Yeah,
saw you doing is pounding drums, and then I
pounding
heard you
drums over
talk,
it.
and I thought, by gosh, why is he and his partner there reduced to pounding drums?
Pounding drums and singing like Sambo.
Yeah.
And that's what the Hebrew roots does. And I'm going to tell you something else. Let me address something else while we're here. I also thought that the Hebrew roots does not have a place at the table for black people, for black males. They
Mm-hmm.
don't. You might say, oh, well, Tony Robinson is a teacher. That's one. Oh, well, Arthur Bailey is a teacher. That's two. Or Kevin Jones was a teacher. That's three. Do
But
me a favor.
those places are segregated.
Which ones?
The ones that you mentioned, they're segregated.
No,
I mean, to
Tony.
say it's either black or it's white primarily.
No, Tony had a very mixed congregation. I've been to his congregation. By the way, he no longer has a congregation in this area. He just is a Torah teacher now. Kevin Jones, for whatever reason, he stopped teaching altogether. He stopped doing the ministry altogether. I hope he'll get back on, get himself together and get back out there. He was a friend of mine. He's in Jackson, Tennessee, Brownsville, Tennessee. And Arthur Bailey, I don't know him. I've seen some tapes of him, and I don't like him. But there does not seem to be a seat at the table for black leadership. And one thing I noticed with the Church of the Chaldees is that most of the people that are in here in the Eastern Rite and in the Western Rite are black. Heck, I got a relative of mine that's involved.
Yeah, right.
Okay, he's involved via convergence. Um, he's involved via convergence, and he came out of the same Church of God in Christ. We were talking the other day, and I say, Henry, how long were you in the Church of God in Christ? And he told me how long he was in the Church of God in Christ. I still got a beat.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was in there. He was in there for 20 years, 20 years, and I was in there for 33 years. But the point is, it seems to be a place for blacks and whites and Hispanics and Asians to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's what was lacking for me with the Hebrew roots. I mean, you come and you look around and and it's nothing against our white brothers or our black brothers or our Hispanic brothers, but I felt that me and Governor felt that as if we were just there, like you said, to sing and dance and be a monkey for
Yeah. Uh-huh.
people's show. And that's not what God called us to be. And, I'm starting to take this serious. And I'm not, listen, I even told Blake and them, I'm not here to play dress up. I'm not here to play King Arthur's court. I'm not here to just stand around and look pretty in my purple. I am looking to serve. Okay. And so that service, what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make my way um, to service, because that's what we're called to do in the body, is to serve. And a lot of the bodies that I've belonged to it over the last 20 years has been a body that did not want to serve. Sure, they want to gain knowledge, they want to learn Torah, but they never wanted to do anything with it except use it as a blunt weapon against their enemies. And so I'm terribly happy right now with where we are. Of course, I'm going to have to start everything all over again, because I'm going to have to do 2 services a week, maybe even 3. Um, I'm not going to be dressing up in choir dress every week.
Why not?
Just when I do divine liturgy.
You wear the alb?
Yeah, I could wear the alb, or I could wear a cassock. But that rocket and that shamir, that's heavy. I mean, I feel like I'm going to football practice when I was putting that stuff on.
You're right. Uh-huh.
I'm like, my goodness. And it is very, and I belong to a group that's within the AOCC, and they were talking about the cope. You know what the cope is? It's a coat. It's Anglican vestments, and it's heavy. You the rocket and the shamir, the cassock, and all that other stuff is heavy. You ain't seen nothing till they put a cope on you. That's winter dress. That's winter dress, and sometimes it's only given to the bishops can wear those. So look, a lot of people have had a rough go with authority. They've had a rough go with structure. They've had a rough go with order, but we can't give up on it. We can't give up on it, because the kingdom is a kingdom of order. And people think, oh, I'll be rebellious until Yeshua comes back, and then we'll flip the light switch and I'm going to change. That's not what he's saying. That's not what God's word say. He says that he who is wicked, let them remain wicked still. He who is righteous upon his return, let them be righteous still. There are also parables that talk about how we treat one another, how we treat authority, and in conjunction with him going away and coming back in the dark of the night and seeing how his servants act and treat each other. So we, as the people of the book, had better come together and realize that we are one body with many members, one body, and that's how we're going to be judged. It's not going to be no big eyes and little U's. So I'm hoping that people will understand that, and I'm hoping that people will get used to that and not be afraid to say, listen, the Father's given me the authority to do thus and so. Walk in the authority that the Father's given you. The Father's given me the ministry of helps. Walk in it. Yahweh has given me the ability to be an apostle. One of the things that call these believe is that bishops are apostles. Okay? And please don't call me an apostle. I tell you, when I was talking to PSG Vestments, and I was taking my order, and it said, Holy Father, I'm like, if the next person calls me Holy Father, I'm going to shoot them. Your Grace, if the next person calls me Your Grace, I'm going to have them put in jail.
Yeah, that was one of the problems I had, even being called pastor.
Right. I don't mind being called pastor.
I'm just nothing but I'm trying to be a teacher. I can't. Only Yeshua is the shepherd.
Right, exactly. I don't have a problem with somebody calling me pastor. I don't have a problem with somebody calling me bishop. But I still have a hard time with your grace, your
Your grace.
excellency, um, your eminence. I'm like, ugh. Holy Father, and I'm like, ugh.
How are
And
you
you,
gonna how are you gonna explain that?
what being called
It's
what?
offensive in a way. But they
Well,
don't know any better.
to me, it's repulsive
Mm-hmm.
to be called Holy Father.
Me too.
But I did not get angry. I did not get upset. I answered the question and I left it at that. The reason why, I was dealing with people in a foreign country, and I had to answer him as a bishop. He wasn't talking to his friend next
Oh,
door. You see what I'm saying? He wasn't
yeah.
talking to his friend next door. He was talking with somebody that he sees as being a member of the clergy.
The
And
places that I have been overseas and they
mhm,
call you pastor this or pastor that, and I
mhm,
say no. I'd had the natives say, you can't say no to those things because
exactly,
this is
exactly.
what they know. And
This is
I've
what
been
they
in
know.
several countries that before
Exactly.
before I
Like one
put
person wanted me to come to Cameroon. This
yeah.
bishop, a Monsignor, said, "I need your presence in Cameroon." I said, "No, he don't neither."
You could
Because
take the little Levite with you since she was born
huh?
there. You could take the little Levite with you since she was born there.
Oh,
You
when
and the
she
little
see me in
Levite
these
could maybe get
robes,
married.
mm-mm.
Okay, no marriage.
Actually, no, I don't have a problem. No, I don't have a problem with that. But speaking of which, you need to come out and see me so I can marry you.
Yeah,
When y'all gonna do that?
well, it might be sooner than we think. We're still waiting
Huh?
on one document from the Israeli embassy we've got to get before we can
And
im-
that should show up in the day.
any
It's gonna
day.
show up in the day. Well, because I think I need to do some paperwork too, don't I?
Oh yeah, not
And
about it.
there's some paperwork that I need to do.
Well, we've got paperwork that we need to do, but we can't do anything until the Israeli embassy sends in a police report.
Oh, and they will. Like I told you, they
Then
will.
we'll
This
go
problem.
on.
Yeah.
The rest
And
is
then
a
you come on.
cakewalk.
Exactly. When do y'all want to do it? Y'all got a date set?
No, we just can't do that right now, especially with this
Okay.
lockdown. She's been in lockdown for 3 4 months in a little tiny hot room, and there's no telling when they're going to lift that. She's 1,000 miles away from home.
Yep. I know how it is. We all going through it now. They burning the doggone. Seems like they burning these democratic states. And I've been telling y'all, you've been hearing me in my teachings. I've been talking to y'all about this.
Oh,
And now
absolutely.
look what we see. Tonight's the place exploded. Okay. They're burning police stations in this country. And it's being organized. And so members of the clergy are going to have to stand up here soon. Um, and we're going to have to take some positions that maybe people are afraid to take positions on, but we're going to have to do something. I mean, this
Brother,
thing
I'm
is getting
ready.
out of the hand, and we are the body. I'm ready too, brother. I'm ready. I think it's high time we get out there and we let people know that there is a voice, and it's called the voice of Yeshua. There is a voice, and we need to get out there. We need to, reach the people. Do you realize now is a very fertile time to get people into the assembly? It's a very fertile time to go out there and get people in the assembly. You
Well,
know,
yes, as I
I
see some of the people that are subscribing and logging into YouTube and see what they're
mm-hmm.
doing, there's a huge interest about this, but we got two problems
What's that?
ecumenically. One is that everybody lives all over the place. How do you, it's a new movement, 10, 15 years old. I'm not talking about Messianic Judaism. I'm talking
Right.
sacred name, Hebrew roots, whatever you want to
Mm-hmm.
call it.
Mm-hmm.
The second problem is that the leaders of these groups are not ecumenical.
No, they're not.
No, they're very dogmatic. And the third reason is we don't have an overarching financier. It takes money
Mm-hmm.
to do this. Now, without a miracle,
Mm-hmm.
in the human way of thinking, well, you need to have somebody that's got some money that will spend some money for something very good and for the future,
Mm-hmm.
probably a future that they'll never see.
Right. And that's the thing right there, is that people are going to have to be willing to envision, uh, to vision, to see something that they are not going to experience.
We need a wider
And
vision. Hmm.
in a vision, and you also need young people to
Yeah.
take up this mantle, because the truth of the matter is, you're not going to do it with somebody that's been rebellious for 70 years. You're not going to do this
Mhm.
with somebody that's been rebellious for something years, not
Right.
even in their late 50s.
And I've been
Okay.
short-sighted because for the last 30 years, I didn't think,
Hmm.
because of my health problems, I didn't
Hmm.
think that I would live another 5 years. And here it's
Right.
been 21 years or
Exactly.
31 years, and who would have
Exactly.
thought? So I'm trying to get rid of that mindset because I do feel good and I'm going to live just as long as Yahweh.
Exactly. Well, I think if you put good people around you, and
Mhm.
one of the things about this, the Yahad movement or any type of fringe movement, you're not going to always get the pick of the litter. You are going to have to deal with people that are
Smart people.
outside their mind.
Hmm.
Okay. And the problem is, it's nothing wrong with being outside your mind. You know why? Because Yeshua, not all of the people that was in the 120 were right in their head neither. But I
No.
guarantee you, when the Holy Spirit fell, those things changed. When through discipleship, through training, through being ministered to, those things changed, and we've had a battle with people
Absolutely.
that came in that absolutely refused to change their behavior.
And that's
Some through,
exactly what I was going to bring up next. Haven't, in this short time, in the last
mhm,
5 years, haven't we seen a plethora of people coming in and getting
mhm,
disaffected because of one thing or the other, or getting mad, or whatever it takes, or
yep,
wanting to promote themselves, and
mhm.
they stay just as long as they can take everything away, including the mailing list, and
Who
then
got the
they
mailing
go.
list? Who got the mailing list?
Oh, a certain professor told me he did. How he did, I have no idea. But he's
You kidding me?
starting a movement of his own, and he's got a Shabbat service that's in competition with what we do. Maybe we ought to go on Facebook
Mhm.
Live and start doing that. But I've got a couple of searing questions,
Well, I think that's something.
because our
Go ahead.
time's about up. And
Okay.
what, when do you think you'll be needing to resign? Do you
Probably
have a
it's
date?
not going to be right now.
Okay.
It's probably not going to be right now. It's probably going to be I'm thinking it's probably going to be in July, August of next year.
Of next year. Okay. That was a big question mark in my
Hmm.
mind, because when you go, I want to try to go back to the original way, reason that the Yahad was put together. And I'm just
Hmm.
looking at a timetable here because, I can't handle alone the idea of people wanting to start assemblies.
Yes,
Can't do that. So,
and that's fair.
okay.
That's
Okay.
fair,
Well,
and I think the most important thing you need to do, be upfront with them and tell them that right up front. Say, listen, I cannot deal. It's going to have to be a thing where we come in, we do seminars, we do this, we
mhm.
do credentialing. But past that, we cannot help you with it. If you want to start an assembly, you may do that.
Yeah.
So that is that. Yeah, I have no problem with that. It's just make sure to communicate up front. So when they come in here, they do not come in here and are not in here for a while, only to discover that. So they shouldn't have done that out. They should know that from day
Yeah.
one and before their ordination. Okay.
Yes.
Well, you had another one for me?
Well, your bandwidth is really low. So, and besides, the time is up right now. I was just going to ask you if you have any closing remarks for this session.
Well, what I would say is that as a people, we are one body with many members, but we're one body, and we all have to remember that. And it doesn't matter whether I'm wearing Anglican garb, clergy garb. It doesn't matter that you're wearing a T-shirt and shorts. It doesn't matter. Paul talks about laying aside every weight and pressing in toward the mark of the high calling that he has for us. And that's what we need to focus on, not dividing, but finding a way to unite.
Excellent. And I thank you again, Bishop Regesh, for being a guest tonight. And we'll probably get
Anytime.
this up. We'll probably get this up before the night's over. And by the way, I didn't tell you that in the last week you've had 100 views.
Well, not bad.
That's good.
Not bad.
Really good.
Not bad.
So maybe we can continue next week. We got
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And by the way, those pictures, what do you want to do with those pictures? You want to put them up?
Which pictures?
The pictures you took. The ones that you took tonight of me in my cassock.
Oh, I don't know. That's right. I do have those. Yes, I think so. In maybe introducing where you're going. I think that would be a good idea. I'll send them over to you too once I clean them up.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, brother.
All right, man. Shabbat shalom.
Love you, man. Shabbat
All right.
shalom.